What's going on, guys? This update touches progression, racing balance, road discovery, visuals, playlist issues, and even some of the weird little quality of life things players were running into every day. And before this patch, the previous update was much smaller and mainly focused on general stability, a fix for the Discover Japan photography section, and some extra PC audio optimization. So this newer update feels a lot more like a proper course correction. The biggest thing people are going to notice right away is the horizon play change, because this is the one that really changes how the game feels for a lot of players. The team adjusted the amount of XP needed between level 26 and level 100, and that means the road to the maxed out achievement is way shorter now. On top of that, the developer notes say that anybody who already pushed past level 25 is going to see a pretty big level jump, with new badges unlocked along the way, and players who already reached level 32 get bumped straight to level 100, which also unlocks the achievement. That is a massive quality of life fix for anyone who looked at that grind and thought, yeah, I am not doing that forever. And I think that change matters because it tells you exactly what the developers were hearing from the community. Some progression systems can feel rewarding when they are slow, but there's a difference between a satisfying climb and one that just becomes a wall. This update clearly tries to smooth that out without changing the whole structure of Horizon Play. They did not rebuild the system from scratch. They simply cut out a lot of the unnecessary drag so the feature feels more reachable and less punishing. For players who like collecting achievements and badges, that is a very welcome move. Now let's talk about the other big one, because this is the change that is going to affect builds, tunes, and probably a lot of online races too. Drag tires have been adjusted so they behave more like actual drag tires instead of this weird all-purpose option that was sneaking into other event types. The developers said the issue was that drag tires were lowering performance index too much, while still giving enough lateral grip to be a strong choice outside drag racing. In plain English, they were too good in places they really should not have been good. So now the physics have been adjusted to line them up with their expected behavior, and the goal is to make sure they are no longer the best tire choice for events that are not drag races. That is probably going to shake up a lot of builds, especially for players who are relying on drag tires, because they gave a nice balance of speed and grip without the usual trade-offs. A lot of people were probably using them without even thinking too hard about it, because once a part becomes the easy answer, it starts showing up everywhere. This patch is the game saying, no, that was never really supposed to be the answer. And even though straight line drag racing should still be fine, road racing and mixed surface tuning are about to feel different for a lot of people. Expect tune sheets to get rewritten, because a setup that felt amazing yesterday may feel way looser in corners after this change. There is also a leaderboard side to this, and that matters more than a lot of people realize. The official notes say the team noticed leaderboard times were sometimes showing the wrong drivetrain, and they also fixed convoy leaderboard display issues for drag meets and time attack circuits. On top of that, because of the drag tire changes, the team says they are going to start removing leaderboard times set using the old drag tire exploit behavior. So this is not just a tuning adjustment. It is also a cleanup pass for competitive records, which is something the community usually wants, even if a few people are going to be annoyed that their old times do not count the same way anymore. Outside of the balance stuff, the update does a lot of practical cleanup in the background. General performance and stability got attention, and there is a fix for the game taking longer than expected to launch after benchmark mode. That kind of fix is not glamorous, but it matters because it makes the whole experience feel less clunky. They also improved difficulty balancing and fixed Drivatar race start behavior, which should help races feel a little more consistent right off the line. Small thing, maybe, but when you are playing a racing game, the start of a race is absolutely not a small thing. Audio got a little love too. The patch improves audio performance on lower spec devices, and there is even a specific adjustment to the volume of the air vents on the 2010 Lamborghini Murcielago LP674 SV, which is one of those details that makes a patch note feel weirdly charming. It is very Forza to have one line in the notes that sounds broad and technical, and then another line that is basically, by the way, this supercar's vents were too loud. That kind of detail tells you they are still paying attention to the actual cars, not just the menus and systems around them. Festival playlist bugs got hit too, and this is the sort of thing that can quietly make a season feel broken if it is left alone. The update fixes cases where some daily challenges and a seasonal job could be completed ahead of time, where completed weekly challenges from a previous season were missing the completed label, and where certain daily challenges across seasons were not unlocking for some players. The developer note also says that all daily challenge points from Series 1 will be rewarded retroactively to players for each season they participated in, and to claim those, players need to visit Series 1 in their playlist history. That is a pretty generous fix, and it should help a lot of people who felt like they were missing out on progression they had already earned. Road discovery also got some welcome attention. The new patch adds a roads-driven percentage to the region overview, which is one of those little changes that sounds minor until you realize how useful it is. If you've ever been trying to finish a map and had no idea whether you were close or still missing a ton of roads, that kind of stat is a lifesaver. The update also fixes two road nodes that would never get marked correctly and addresses inconsistencies between the minimap and world map. So for completionists, this is a nice quality of life win across the board. The visuals section is pretty long too, which usually means there were enough rough edges that the team decided to just clean house in one go. They fixed graphical corruption during loading transitions, especially in Horizon stories and after monthly rivals. They fixed motion blur artifacts on the rear of the 2001 Mitsubishi Lancer Evo FIS GSR TM Edition. And they fixed lighting issues in photo mode when switching between times of day. There are also fixes for green artifacts when taking a photo through a metal mesh fence, missing rain particles on PC when using the high graphics preset, and some pixelated red smoke in street races when using upscaling. That is a lot of visual cleanup, and it should make the game feel a bit more polished in the places where players are most likely to notice something looks off. One thing I like about updates like this is that they are not focused on adding a bunch of new things while leaving existing issues behind. Sometimes the best updates are the ones that make the experience smoother every single time you launch the game. You might not immediately notice every fix individually, but after a few hours of playing, the overall experience just feels better. Races feel cleaner, progression feels more reasonable, menus work the way they should, and the little frustrations start disappearing. And when you step back, this update feels like a pretty strong response to the stuff players were actually running into in day-to-day play. The previous update was much narrower, mostly just general stability, a collection journal bug, and some PC audio tuning. This one is the bigger swing. It changes how fast people move through Horizon play, it changes how competitive builds are tuned, and it should make a bunch of annoying edge cases a lot less annoying. So yeah, this is one of those updates that is going to be felt in a lot of different ways depending on how you play. If you are chasing achievements, the Horizon play changes are the big win. If you are into tuning and racing competitively, the drag tire adjustment is probably the thing you're going to notice first. And if you are more of a completionist or playlist player, the road discovery and challenge fixes should make everyday progression smoother. It is the kind of patch that does not just fix one problem. It nudges the whole game in a cleaner direction. And judging by the changes included here, the developers seem focused on improving the areas players spend the most time interacting with. Whether you are racing online, grinding challenges, hunting achievements, building cars, or simply exploring every corner of the map, there's probably something in this update that directly affects the way you play. That is why this patch feels more important than a typical maintenance update, because its impact stretches across almost every part of the game.